good to have you join me on my show today, How to Get into TV, Radio and Film. Before I get things underway, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's subscribed, because it means such a lot to me that my content is resonating with you. And of course, I'm very grateful for everyone who's supporting me to build the community. I'd also like to invite you to get involved and be a part of the conversation. If you've got anything to say about anything that's discussed in any of my videos, then please do feel free to comment. And also, if you've got any questions for any of my guests or for me, again, leave your thoughts in the comment section. Now, on with the show, and let me introduce you to my guest today. She is a relative newcomer to the industry, and she's currently working as a studio and production runner. She's working on her own film, and she has worked on one of the biggest Hollywood franchise films, and more of that later. Welcome, Angel Nkomo. Hi, Angel.
Hi, Samina. I'm super excited to be chatting with you. I love the work that you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much, Angel. That means a lot to me. Now, look, you are at the early stages of your career, which must be very exciting. I'm very excited for you. A lot of people who will be joining us today will be wondering, how did she do it? And, you know, Samina's just mentioned this huge Hollywood film franchise that this girl has been involved in. So can you just share with us your pathway into this business from the beginning? How did you manage to get your foot in through the door so it can offer inspiration to others who want to follow in your footsteps?
So after studying television and film, English literature and language and creative writing at college, my college put out an advertisement from the BFI, basically encouraging people to do the Film Academy program. So I did that alongside studying at college. I then took a gap year and worked at the cinema. And then alongside working at the cinema, an opportunity came up saying I'm looking for young and budding filmmakers to work on a feature film. So I applied, not knowing that I would get in. And then when I got to the interview, they're like, congratulations, you'll be working on Star Wars. So I was just like, oh my goodness, this is amazing.
I love the way you're being so understated about it. Yeah, and it was Star Wars. That's such a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, even now it's shocking knowing that I was alongside all of those creatives, J.J. Abrams, who was directing it. It was overwhelming, but it was an amazing experience.
Totally. Now, I'm just going to rewind a little bit. So the application process and the opportunity, can you just expand on those, like what you had to do and why this opportunity was offered?
So this opportunity was open to people from underprivileged backgrounds, diverse communities, all sorts of backgrounds, basically. And that was helpful for me because I didn't know how I would get into the film industry, as I don't know anyone who works there. So the first interview was basically getting to know you and what roles you like, whether you like being a cinematographer or you want to be a writer. That was super helpful because they kept that in mind when distributing the roles. So there was 15 trainees on the film, maybe a little bit less, from all over the UK. There was 2 from Manchester. I was one of them. And as the interviews went along and we spoke to HODs that would be working with, they kind of just selected who they felt needed that boost to get into the industry, but also who showed enthusiasm. So somehow I managed to whittle my way onto the set.
And so talk to me about enthusiasm and passion and going after what you want, because I've worked with a lot of young people over the years, and this isn't to make anybody wrong. This is pure observation. Sometimes they can be a little bit shy or not forthcoming about what they want. How important is it to demonstrate, I want that, and then show people that you're willing to step up?
I think in an industry like this, there's hundreds, thousands of people, that maybe more than that want to get into the industry. So it's important to show people that you genuinely have a keen interest, and that goes through by making the extra effort to contact people that you are inspired by, or talking to people about what you like doing, and also being active, just showing people that this is the industry you want to work in. And because there's so many people applying, the competition is high, but you go that further when you push a little bit further.
Yeah, I really love what you said. It's really about stepping out your comfort zone. I know that some people are not going to be extrovert they may be more shy than others, but it really, at the beginning, you have to get out your comfort zone and get connected with people, because that's the only way to get into this industry. Well, it's one of the major ways to get into this industry. Also, you said something very important earlier on about when you found yourselves involved in the Star Wars film, about the roles. How important is it to know what you want to do? And can you share with us after that what it is you want to do?
I think people are willing to help you get into the role you want to, if you show enthusiasm, as we said before. But if you have, a pathway that you see yourself taking, it makes it easier. You know the right people to speak to, the right places to put effort and energy into. So with me, I already knew that I enjoyed writing and I like directing. I like coming up with ideas and chatting to people. Which made it easier, and I made sure that I put that through in the first interview. So the lady who was, sorting out talent and figuring out who would be working on the film, remembered that I said I like writing, and then told me later on that there was a role in the script and continuity department, where you're working with the continuity and the script supervisors and the writers, the script team, and I thought, this is amazing. I might not be writing the script, but I'm around the people who are developing it and editing it and changing it, and it was through me making sure I mentioned that to her at the beginning, and seeing what I enjoy doing, it kind of helped shape my pathway and my experience on the film.
That's brilliant, and I love what you've said. But now, what do you have to say to those who may be joining us today, who are saying, you know what, I don't know what it is I want to do? What would you say to them?
I think it's good to experiment. So as I am now making my own short film, take your camera out, try filming, try doing the audio yourself, directing it, writing the script, see what it is that you can come up with. If you have friends around you, even better, distribute the roles between yourself. And alongside doing that and experimenting, you will naturally find what skills you have and what you fall into naturally. But okay, I actually like sound design. I think this is something I'm good at. I'm going to focus on doing that along ways.
That's sound advice. And also, I would like to add to that, part of the reason I have you here talking on my show and all my other guests on my show, How to Get into TV, Radio and Film, is to showcase to everybody at entry level or those who have ambitions to come into this business, all the different roles available. I always say, if you're not sure, come check out all my interviews and hear what the professionals are saying about their roles. They give it, like you're giving me details about what, you're doing. All the industry professionals that I've interviewed really break it down, what their role is, the pros and cons, and they give advice if you're interested in that to follow in their footsteps. So I think it's very important what you've said, and I really urge all of you who are unsure to come and check out all my interviews so that you get an idea or get inspired by a role or someone. So now moving back to the scripts writers that you were working with, what did you learn from them? Obviously, you were at junior level, so it wasn't having an input into the script, but there's still always a lot to learn when you're around professionals or on a professional set.
So I learned quite a lot. So I was with the script continuity team. So they're the ones that are updating the script. So whatever the writer changes, they'll update it. They keep an eye on continuity to make sure that everything makes sense and it moves along smoothly, and they keep notes for editorial, so that if you ever have to make a revision or go back to filming, we know what time it was filmed, where it was filmed, and they also work alongside the producers to make sure everything is on schedule. So that role was super helpful, just watching them, because they connect with everyone. They work with the VFX team, editors, producers, as I said before, and I learned from some of my managers was, being able to have an understanding of each department, to some sort of level. So editing, my manager edits her own work, and she also does script writing on the side. So that was not that you have to have those skills, but having an understanding of what the people you're working alongside are doing makes it easier when you're doing your job. And they're also alongside the director, making sure that if anything needs to be changed, or if there's like a plant vase in the wrong place, they can kind of just tell them to change it, keeping an eye on everything.
Also American, plant vase.
She one of them was American, that's probably where I'm getting that from. Yeah, just making sure that you're communicating with everybody clearly, have your eyes everywhere, really. As a script supervisor, you're the eyes. You're basically the eyes for the editors who are not on set. And making sure that you communicate clearly, and also just being friendly to everyone goes a long way. And with script supervision, most people tend to do courses in that before they go onto set. So I went onto set before having had those lessons, but seeing that a lot of the work goes on behind the scenes in the office, take time to train and pick up on, your skills. That was another thing that I learned from my managers.
Brilliant. And with all the work experience you've had, and now, we'll talk about your current job in a moment. How important is it to take instruction, take direction? Because it's very different from when you're at school or college or even working in a different industry. Obviously, there's a level of professionalism in every industry, but in this industry, it's very particular. There's deadlines, like super tight deadlines around everything, especially when you're filming. So how important is it to take instruction from somebody senior and ensure you get that job done?
Oh yeah, I learned the hard way. Listening is a skill that will take you far. And just making sure that you're listening to directions that you're given. When someone gives you an instruction, they're relying on you to carry that so that they can do something else. You're working as a big team. It's not an individual thing where you can go, okay, I'll do that later. If someone said they need this done now, that needs to be a priority. So also learning how to prioritize, because it affects the movement of the film. It affects the next person's job or the next department's job if you're not doing your job properly. So just making sure that you are listening, and even just having like a notepad down if you struggle. My notepad was my best friend in those days. I would write everything down, and I definitely learned a lot about how valuable taking instructions are.
Listening is so key. I think for most part, people love to talk, but when you actually be quiet and listen, it's a whole different experience, and you can really get engaged with people and engaged in your work. Now, talk to me about studio or location etiquette.
Would you like to know about studio in terms of where I'm working now or on the film?
Yeah. Let's talk about where you're working now. So you're currently working as a studio and production runner. Can you expand on that so people understand what that means, and what does your role involve?
So I'm now working for Uncommon Creator Studio, which work on adverts and campaigns. And as a studio runner, I'm basically there to assist the photographers or anyone we have filming in our studio whenever we have a production taking place. So it's not every day. It could be like 2 days a week, or once a month. It depends on what the schedule calls for. But I make sure that the equipment is in the right place. I make sure that if anything breaks, we get a new one, and that the studio looks well. Or if we need any props or last minute bits and bobs for a shoot, I'll be the one to go and grab it. So in the studio, it tends to be me and one of the creators or a producer, and the photographer. So there's only a few of us. So I'm basically grabbing coffees and teas or food, doing any little bits and bobs that will help the production move smoothly. And I also do bits and bobs in the office. So whenever we have freelancers coming on board, I'll do any of the admin, any paperwork, basically just making things move smoothly for everyone.
And that's quite a lot of responsibility. Yeah. I'm hearing a lot of responsibility here. Talk to me about the difference between being at uni or college or school and having teachers over your back saying, have you done this yet? Have you done this yet? That doesn't happen in this business. You're like, here you go, take full responsibility and on you go. Can you just compare the two very quickly?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this a while ago, because I did a BTEC diploma, level 3, and with that you would have the teachers saying, okay, this assignment needs to be done, and if you didn't meet that deadline, sometimes they would be a little bit more lenient and give you an extension. But when you're working in a workplace, that deadline, you need to meet that deadline. There is no I need more time, unless it's something that falls along everyone, where everyone's like, okay, we all need a little bit longer, we're going to push the date back. And as I said before, it's a teamwork thing. So you kind of need to do your bit. Everyone needs to do their bit so that it moves smoothly. So I'm learning how to keep on top of things, timekeeping, scheduling, just making sure that I'm organized so that I don't have to worry about something not meeting a deadline.
Yeah, and you don't want to let the team down. It is like a big machinery. Once the production gets underway, it's like it's started, and if one person doesn't do their job, then that can impact on the final production. And remember, I don't know if people are aware of this, but there's a lot of money involved in any kind of production. So if something goes wrong, that delays matters, and that's running over budget, which is not a desirable situation to be in. So Angel, I want to talk to you now. You know, your pathway into this business was through the BFI opportunity, which is incredible. And I urge all those watching to look out for the BFI opportunity. I believe they do it every year. I'll put a link to the BFI website in the description. However, obviously, you know, we were talking about different pathways people can take, and the industry, do you think it's creating enough funnels to bring people, youngsters, or actually it doesn't even have to be youngsters, even older people who want to have a career in this business, maybe a second, you know, they're already in another career and they want to transition over here. Do you think there's enough support? And if you do, then you can expand on that. If you don't, can you suggest ways that the industry can improve upon that?
I think it's getting better. The BFI are doing an amazing job at, you know, finding people like me who don't know anyone who works in the industry. Very recently, BAFTA started a program where they want to basically help people, you know, work within their talent, or with, basically it's a fund that will help you, and whether you need help with living costs or you need equipment. And I just got a camera now, my first camera, which is how I'm shooting my short film. It's things like that that are helping me out, because I couldn't afford one without that bursary, or I'd have to wait a very long time. So I think it's getting better, but I think that more opportunities do need to be made, and maybe the advertising for schemes like this need to be put out a little bit more. Like they did for me, they approached my school, which specializes in television and film. That's how I heard about the BFI. I think we need to see more of it, because I tend to be the one telling people about my experience, but you know, if it was widely out there, then people would know about some of these fantastic schemes that, you know, are open to people like us. Like we can get into the industry. It's just knowing in the right place.
So what you're saying is that the industry, production companies, bodies, whoever it might be, ought to actually reach out to diverse communities more proactively and get that message or opportunity in front of people. Am I hearing that correctly?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, whether it means going into schools or putting it out on Facebook or Instagram. I've told a few people about what the BFI offer, and some of them are like, "What, really? How did you?" And I'm like, "You guys don't know about this?" But obviously, I do, because I heard about it through school. But just having that push of getting it out there to people would be super helpful.
Okay, that's really well. I hope people in the media are listening to that, decision makers, and they can target it a bit more and get into all these diverse communities so that more people from different backgrounds can, you know, are welcomed and supported in this industry. Now, I want to ask you to share, what are the top 3 tips you can give to anybody who wants to break into this business, essentially following your footsteps?
I think I know it sounds cliche, but having a passion for it. If you have a strong passion for something, then naturally you will gravitate towards anything that will allow you to get to where you want to be. So if you know that filmmaking or working in this industry is for you, whenever you hear an opportunity, or even if you don't hear about an opportunity and you have your iPhone and you want to make something, you will go to that extent to make it, even if it's not being seen just yet. And when the right opportunity comes, it will. So having a passion. I would say listening to people. A lot of people have had good experiences. Some have had tough experiences within the industry. And you know, if they're giving you advice, they're not just saying it for the random reason. They're saying it because they want to help you. In most cases. So listening to the people that are out there, or, you know, taking the time to YouTube or Google, see what content is out there. There's a lot on YouTube to help you. And I'd say number 3.
Hello, my channel.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And number 3, I'd probably say looking at schemes that are looking for people from diverse backgrounds, or just people who haven't had that chance to get into the industry, like the BFI, like BAFTA, like Creative Skill Set, all of those schemes that will put you on a placement or on a traineeship to work on a film or a television show for so long, which will then give you the opportunity to speak to the head of departments or the people working in the industry, which could then possibly set forth the rest of your career.
Yeah.
So I'd say that.
Oh, that's great advice. And I would just like to add to what you've said. A lot of production companies, a lot of companies are now proactively seeking people from more diverse, with, you know, multi-heritage, different backgrounds. And what I've decided to do is create a strand of content that I'm producing to support people as well. If you just look on my channel at the media opportunities, I explain a subject matter that you may not be familiar with. For example, I have a video called Unscripted TV Explained, and alongside those, any job opportunities or traineeships or anything of that ilk that will support people into the business, I put those opportunities on my YouTube channel. So please feel free to check that strand of content as well for opportunities. Angel, tell me, what's your future ambitions? Just to wrap things up, where do you see yourself?
I see myself directing and writing films about true stories. I'm working on one right now about my granddad. So in the future, I see myself having written and produced it, hopefully, for the world to see. I just seem to be drawn towards true stories at the moment. That could change, but yeah, just being in my flow, making things that I enjoy.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I wish you all the best. And you know what, it's been so enjoyable talking to you. Thank you so much for sharing all, you know, about your career, and also giving all this wonderful advice to those who want to follow in your footsteps. Thank you so much. If what Angel said to you and shared with me, it resonated with you, then please do give this video a thumbs up, and also please feel free to share it with anyone it might help. I know a lot of you want to break into this business, and I think it's really vitally important that we support each other. And so I can only offer you my support in the way of answering all your questions, comments, and of course providing you my content, so you're free to share a link with those who it might benefit. As always, next week I will have another fantastic guest, so please feel free to join me at that point. And in the meantime, huge thanks again for joining me today.